Today's haunted location has left many people feeling exhilarated as they witness something paranormal for the first time in their lives, but also with a sense of shock and anxiety, with the realisation that, yes, they'd just seen something paranormal. From the spirit of a young boy to mental health patients that are suddenly free to roam the grounds without the bindings of their life or medications, to unexplained sounds that echo around the grounds and the eerie sense of being watched. Welcome to Madison Seminary in Ohio. It's quite an unusual place with a collection of old buildings that are connected to each other, each having their own stories to tell. The buildings show the wear and tear of the passing years, and it's safe to say they've not been kind, with cracks in the masonry and windows darkened from filth and abandonment. So let's take a brief look at the history of this property before discovering the entities that still linger. It all began in 1845 when a building was chartered as an institute for higher education. In 1847, it was a simple wooden frame building, a place where high school and college students could gain the qualifications they needed to pursue a better career for themselves. It was a huge success, and by 1859, another building was built to help with the educational purposes, while the older one became a house of boarding for its 150 students. Life continued like this until closing in July 1891, when the building was sold again on November 10th, 1891, and became the Madison home owned by Ohio Women's Relief Corps. From here it became many things, from a hospital, an extension of Apple Creek State Hospital, as well as a home for select female inmates of the Women's Reformatory in Marysville, and later joined with the Ohio Bureau of Vocational Rehab, to name a few. By the 1980s, the police had taken over the property, burning all furnishings in a huge bonfire behind the building. When the police decided to post an ad to lease out the Madison, it stated, "For rent. Historic building can be leased cheap. Caution, building may be haunted." Can you imagine seeing that advert in the paper? It certainly would be something to stop you in your tracks. But this then begs the question, who haunts Madison Seminary? Our first ghost is Elizabeth Stiles. Elizabeth and her husband Jacob had strong views regarding slavery, and in a community that was very 50-50 in support of it. They were warned numerous times to shut the hell up. But they wouldn't be silenced though, and so the Confederate supporter William Quantrill of the Quantrill Raiders decided to take matters into his own hands. He turned up at the Stiles family home and shot Jacob dead. Surprisingly, they never hurt Elizabeth, stating she was too pretty to kill, or their two children, as apparently they were innocent and didn't know better. Fueled with anger and her strong beliefs, Elizabeth became a spy for the Union at the request of Abraham Lincoln, and continued with this role for quite a period of time until she was discovered. The end of her days were lived here at Madison Seminary, which makes it no surprise that she's been witnessed so many times over the years. In the Wittenmeyer cottage, Elizabeth has been seen floating around the property in a long 1800s-style dress, appearing like a smoky white apparition before staff and guests. When mediums and other investigators have tried to talk with her, she's very open and will converse freely, stating that she has claimed the property as her own but willingly shares it with the living. Elizabeth seems to show no fear towards those who try to talk to her, but that doesn't really seem much of a surprise when you think about the massive bravery she showed while alive. Also in Wittenmeyer Cottage, a young boy referred to as Stephen has been seen. Tour guides say that he will go about his day as he did in life, appearing as a shadowy apparition. Sadly though, no one knows how he came to be at Madison, or if Stephen is his real name. I mean, was he a patient? Did he turn up with the Madison when it was a school, or something else entirely? Many of the known entities appear to be from the time when the Madison was a hospital, treating patients with mental illness. One such spirit is called Sarah. Now, when she died, it's not fully known whether she was a child or an old woman suffering from dementia, as she comes across as very young in her demeanour. Guests to her room, which has been made up for a child with books, toys, rocking chair and bedspread, I've heard a childlike voice playing and talking to itself. There is also a strong youthful presence to the area that people pick up on, especially when guests and staff leave presents behind for her. But while Sarah and Elizabeth both seem at peace, another spirit is angry and wants nothing more than to be left alone. When visitors to Madison try to engage with this male patient, he will become aggressive, pushing people out of his room and even scratching at them. You see, in life, he may have been calmer due to medication and other care being shown, but now he's free to roam with nothing left to control his anger. If you are one of the living, he will let you know that he despises your existence. Our next two spirits I would find fascinating, but at the same time creepy as hell. As let's be honest, no one likes the idea of being watched by unseen eyes. On the 3rd floor, visitors and staff have witnessed the spirits of twin boys peering at them from around the corner of their rooms, watching what's going on. Obviously, this can be a shock for those who see them, but I guess that is part of the charm when you are creeping around haunted locations. On the same floor, there is also a young male who, in life, had Down syndrome. He's very friendly and loves to talk with people when he can through EVPs. And while patients seem to be going about their day as they did in life, mostly at peace and happy, there is also a male nurse who many believe has stuck around to take care of those who were once entrusted to him. Described as being a very tall spirit, he's been seen checking in on the rooms that patients resided in, while also being protective of his own living quarters. Usually quite a pleasant ghost who goes about his duties, he did one time take a dislike to a tour guide as she reminded him of someone whom he disliked while alive. Apparently, he was openly hostile towards her, even in front of the guests. There are plenty of ghosts at Madison Seminary, and the ones I have talked about today are just a few. Other paranormal experiences had are people being grabbed, full conversations heard by deceased people, enough so that you might feel you're even eavesdropping, slamming doors and even rattling chains, to name a few. Some guests have even sensed a feeling of dread as they've walked around the properties, or a tight pressure in their chest. It does make sense when you consider how many people have come and gone at Madison over the years. Sure, we've discussed mostly positive spirits, but you know damn well not everyone's story will have been a happy one. There is a rumour that at one time, for example, someone was murdered on the grounds. Is this true? Who can say, as we all know that shady practices and criminal acts did have a habit of being covered up. So if you decide to visit this amazing haunted location, be prepared. The ghosts that still call Madison Seminary their home really do love interacting with their guests and feel free to be their true selves. So chances of you experiencing something supernatural are pretty high. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like or add a comment about your own experiences in the comments below. For those of you who love stories of the paranormal, why not subscribe today so that you won't miss out on my new episodes. Until next time, Dissectors, stay safe out there.